The Grand Hall of Trade Station Helios 7 was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Taemin stood near the entrance, his dark uniform marking him as one of the human security officers assigned to tonight's diplomatic dinner. He watched the room with careful eyes, noting each delegate as they took their seats around the massive circular table. Beside him, Jiwoo adjusted her medical badge and whispered, "This is quite a crowd. 12 different species in one room." Taemin nodded. "Let's hope they all play nice." The ceiling above them showed the stars beyond the station, a reminder that they were far from Earth. Taemin had been working on this station for 2 years now. Ever since humanity had joined the galactic community, it still amazed him sometimes. Real aliens. Hundreds of different species all living and working together, well, mostly together. The dinner began with formal speeches. Each delegate stood and spoke about cooperation and peace. Taemin tried to pay attention, but his mind wandered. He had heard these same words dozens of times before. His job was simple: watch for trouble and stop it before it started. The food arrived on floating platforms. Each species had their own dietary requirements, and the kitchen staff had worked hard to prepare appropriate meals for everyone. Taemin could smell something that reminded him of roasted meat. Though he knew the aliens probably thought it smelled strange, everything was going well until the main course. Vrax, the insectoid ambassador from the Chittering Collective, stood up suddenly. His multiple eyes fixed on the large reptilian delegate across the table. "You cannot be serious, Gormath. Those star systems belong to my people. They have for 3 generations. Gormath's scales rippled with color, shifting from green to angry red. Your people colonized them illegally. The Scaled Dominion has rightful claim to that entire sector." Other delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Taemin took a step forward, ready to intervene if needed. Jiwoo touched his arm gently, a silent message to wait. Rightful claim? Vrax's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. Your kind waited until we built the infrastructure, then declared ownership. That is theft, not claim. Gormath rose to his full height, nearly 7 feet tall. His thick arms slammed on the table, making several smaller aliens jump in fear. "Watch your words, insect. The Dominion does not steal. We reclaim what was always ours." The tension in the room became thick enough to cut. Taemin moved closer, his hand ready near his non-lethal restraint device. He had never needed to use it, but tonight might be different. "Your kind are liars and thieves," Vrax said, his voice rising to a harsh buzz. "Everyone here knows it. You take and take, giving nothing back." Something in Gormath snapped. His hand moved to the ceremonial blade at his belt. These blades were traditional symbols of honor among his people, worn to formal events but never meant to be drawn in anger. Gormath drew it anyway. "I challenge your words," Gormath roared. Before anyone could react, the reptilian delegate threw the knife. It spun through the air, blade over handle, aimed directly at Vrax's head. The insectoid ambassador froze, his reaction time too slow to dodge. Other delegates gasped or clicked or made whatever sounds of shock their species produced. Taemin didn't think. His body moved on instinct, trained from years of military service back on Earth. His hand shot out and closed around the knife's handle. The blade stopped spinning, caught firmly in his grip. The point just inches from Vrax's compound eyes. The room went absolutely silent. Taemin looked at the knife in his hand, then at the shocked faces staring at him. He slowly, carefully placed the blade on the table. "Maybe we should all calm down," he said quietly. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 12 different species, representing hundreds of worlds, all stared at the human who had just plucked a thrown knife out of the air as easily as catching a ball. Gormath's scales had gone pale, almost white. His mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Vrax's multiple eyes were fixed on Taemin's hand, the hand that had moved faster than he could track. "How?" the insectoid whispered. "How did you do that?" Taemin shrugged, confused by the question. "Do what?" "I just caught it." "Just caught it," one of the other delegates repeated, her voice filled with something that sounded like fear. Jiwoo stepped forward, sensing the strange mood. "Is everything all right? Should I examine anyone for injuries?" The delegates began standing up, making excuses. One claimed to feel ill, another remembered an urgent message from home. A third suddenly recalled an important meeting. Within minutes, the dinner was over. Aliens filed out of the grand hall quickly, many glancing back at Taemin with wide eyes. Taemin looked at Ji-woo. What just happened? I have no idea, she admitted. But they all looked scared. Scared of what? I stopped someone from getting hurt. Commander Kwan, the human station commander, approached them. He was an older man with gray hair and a permanent frown. What did you do, Taemin? I caught a knife that was thrown at Ambassador Vrax, sir. Gormath lost his temper. Kwan's frown deepened. You caught it? With your hand? Yes, sir. It was just reflex. The commander rubbed his face. I need you both to stay here. Don't talk to anyone until I figure out what's going on. As Kwan walked away, Taemin picked up the ceremonial blade again. It was beautiful, really. The metal was engraved with symbols he couldn't read. The balance was perfect. Any human athlete could have caught this throw. It hadn't even been moving that fast. Vrax appeared beside them, moving so quietly that neither human noticed until he spoke. Security Officer Taemin, he said formally. Ambassador Vrax, are you injured? No, thanks to you. The insectoid's antennae twitched nervously. May I ask you something? Something important? Of course. Vrax leaned closer, his voice dropping to barely more than a whisper. Your species. You evolved as predators, didn't you? Taemin blinked in surprise. I suppose so. Humans are omnivores, but yes, we hunted for most of our history. Why does that matter? The ambassador's entire body seemed to shudder. It matters more than you know. He paused, his multiple eyes studying Taemin's face. Tell me, human, how long did it take you to decide to catch that knife? Taemin thought about it. I didn't decide. I just did it. Maybe a quarter of a second? A quarter of a second, Vrax repeated slowly. To see the knife, judge its speed and trajectory, move your hand and close your fingers at precisely the right moment. I guess so. Is that strange? Vrax made a sound that might have been laughter or might have been a cry of despair. Strange? Human, what you did is considered impossible by every species in this galaxy. Every species except yours, it seems. Ji-woo spoke up. What do you mean, impossible? The ambassador looked at her, then back at Taemin. My people's average reaction time is 2 full seconds. Gormath's people are slightly faster, perhaps 1.5 seconds. The quickest species we know of can react in just under 1 second. He paused. You reacted in a quarter of that time, and you did it without thinking, without even trying. Taemin felt a chill run down his spine. Are you saying humans are different? Different? Vrax's mandibles clicked softly. Human, your species terrifies me. All of you. He turned and walked away, leaving Taemin and Ji-woo standing alone in the empty hall. Ji-woo looked at her friend. Taemin, what have we done? He stared at the knife still resting on the table. I don't know, but I think everything just changed. The next morning, Taemin woke to his communication device buzzing urgently. He groaned and reached for it, squinting at the bright screen. 3 missed calls from Commander Kwan and a dozen messages from Ji-woo. He called her first. Finally, Ji-woo answered immediately. Have you seen the station network? I just woke up. What's going on? You're famous. Well, infamous, maybe. Someone recorded what happened at the dinner last night. The video is everywhere. Taemin sat up suddenly wide awake. What do you mean, everywhere? I mean every alien on this station has seen it. And according to Hyojin and intelligence, it's spreading to other stations and planets. Taemin, your galactic news. 20 minutes later, Taemin arrived at Commander Kwan's office. Ji-woo was already there, along with Hyojin, their intelligence analyst. Hyojin was a small woman with sharp eyes and the ability to speak 6 alien languages fluently. Show him, Kwan said without greeting. Hyojin turned her screen toward Taemin. The video showed the dinner from last night, recorded from some alien's personal device. He watched himself catch the knife, saw the shocked reactions, heard the sudden silence. The video had been viewed millions of times already. That's not the worst part, Hyojin said. She pulled up another screen, this one showing text in various alien scripts. These are translations of conversations we've intercepted. The aliens are talking about humans, about Earth, about you. What are they saying? Taemin asked. Hyojin began reading. This is from the Chittering Collective's private channels. The human moved at impossible speed. Our scientists calculate his reaction time at 0.25 seconds, 4 times faster than our quickest warriors. If all humans possess this ability, they could overwhelm any defense force in close combat. She scrolled to another message. This is from the Scaled Dominion. We have made a grave error. The humans come from a world classified as Class 12 Death World. We should have studied them more carefully before allowing them into the galactic community. Death World? Jiwoo asked. What does that mean? Heejin pulled up a chart. It's a classification system for planets based on how dangerous they are to life. Class 1 worlds are peaceful garden planets with stable climates and few predators. Earth. She paused. Earth is Class 12. The danger scale only goes to 15. Taemin stared at the chart. So Earth is dangerous. We knew that. We evolved there. That's exactly the point, Quan said. Every other spacefaring species evolved on Class 4 worlds or below. They had gentle weather, few natural disasters, and relatively safe environments. Earth has hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, ice ages, deadly predators, and diseases that wipe out millions. We survived all of that. Heejin continued reading messages. Listen to this one from a scientific group. Humans possess forward-facing predator eyes for tracking fast-moving prey. Their hands evolved for tool use and weapon manipulation. Their reaction time suggests constant exposure to deadly threats. They are persistence hunters who can track prey for days without stopping. Every aspect of their biology screams apex predator. But we're not just predators, Jiwoo protested. We're also cooperative, creative, empathetic. They know that too, Hyejin interrupted. That makes us more frightening, not less. Here's another message. Humans possess the social bonds of prey species combined with the reflexes and physical abilities of predators. This combination should be impossible, yet they represent it perfectly. They are protective of other species, yet capable of extreme violence when threatened. Taemin felt overwhelmed. All of this because I caught a knife? You demonstrated something they thought was impossible, Quan explained. Most alien species have reaction times between 1 and 3 seconds. They evolved in safe environments where fast reactions weren't necessary for survival. You reacted in a quarter of a second without even thinking about it. To them, that's like watching someone move at super speed. Heejin pulled up a video comparison. It showed Taemin catching the knife in real time, then slowed down to show an alien's perspective. At their processing speed, his hand moved so fast it blurred. The knife seemed to vanish from the air and appear in his grip. Oh, Taemin said quietly. Yeah, Hyejin agreed. Oh. Commander Quan stood and walked to the window overlooking the station. It gets worse. I've received communication requests from 17 different alien governments. The Galactic Council wants an emergency session. 3 separate species have filed formal inquiries about humanity's intentions in the galaxy. Intentions? Jiwoo asked. What do they think we're planning? They're afraid we're going to conquer them, Quan said bluntly. They think we've been hiding our true capabilities. That we're apex predators from a death world, and now that we're in space, we'll do what predators do. The room fell silent. Finally, Taemin spoke. That's insane. We haven't done anything aggressive. We've followed every rule, respected every treaty. I know, Quan said. But fear isn't rational. They've spent their entire existence being the fastest, smartest species around. Now they've discovered that humans can react and move faster than they can even perceive. It's shattered their sense of security. Heejin pulled up more messages. It's not all negative. Some species are curious. They want to know more about Earth, about how we survive such a dangerous world. But the military factions are worried. Very worried. She showed them a tactical analysis someone had written. It detailed how human reflexes would give them overwhelming advantages in combat. How human endurance would allow them to fight longer than any known species. How human pattern recognition and problem-solving would make them excellent strategists. This reads like we're some kind of super soldiers, Jiwoo said. To them you are, Heejin replied. They're comparing notes now, realizing things they should have noticed before. Did you know that humans are the only species in the galactic community that can throw objects accurately? The only ones who can catch falling items instinctively? The only ones who play sports involving fast-moving balls? Taemin thought about all the times he had played catch as a child, thrown a baseball, caught a frisbee. Simple games that humans played without thinking. They can't do that? Their eyes and brains can't process fast-moving objects quickly enough to intercept them, Hyejin explained. To them, watching a human play baseball would look like magic. Or sorcery, or, she paused, like watching a deadly predator at work. A message appeared on Quan's screen. He read it and his face went pale. We have a problem. Another one? Taemin asked. A fleet of alien ships is approaching human-controlled space. It's a combined force from multiple species. Quan looked at them grimly. They're not here for a friendly visit. Jiwoo's hand went to her mouth. Are they going to attack Earth? I don't know. But they're demanding that humanity agree to stay within our solar system. They want us to stop expanding into the galaxy. Quan sat down heavily. They're calling it a quarantine. For the safety of all species. A quarantine. Taemin felt anger rising in his chest.
We haven't done anything wrong.
We scared them, Heejin said softly. Sometimes that's enough. Quan activated the communication system. I'm calling Admiral Sung-ho. Earth's defense fleet needs to know what's coming. He looked at Taemin and Jiwoo. You two should prepare statements. The Galactic Council is going to want to hear from humans directly. Specifically, they want to hear from you, Taemin. Me? Why me? Because you're the human who caught the knife, Quan said. You're the one who showed them what we're capable of. Now you need to convince them we're not a threat. After the meeting ended, Taemin and Jiwoo walked through the station corridors. Aliens who normally greeted them warmly now kept their distance. Some stared openly. Others hurried past, avoiding eye contact. Everything's changed, Jiwoo said. Because of one simple action, Taemin replied. I just wanted to stop someone from getting hurt. I know. But now they see us differently. Not as friends or colleagues. As predators, she paused. Maybe that's what we are. Taemin stopped walking. No, we're more than that. We have to be. His communication device buzzed. A message from Ambassador Vrax. Meet me at Observation Deck 3 alone. We need to talk before this situation gets worse. Taemin showed the message to Jiwoo. She nodded. Go. Maybe he can help us understand what's really happening. As Taemin headed toward the observation deck, he thought about Earth. His homeworld, with its storms and earthquakes, its predators and diseases, its beautiful, terrible diversity of life. They had called it a death world. But to him it was just home. Now he had to convince an entire galaxy that the humans from that death world weren't monsters. They were just people trying to find their place among the stars. The observation deck waited ahead, and with it, answers he wasn't sure he wanted to hear. Admiral Sung-ho stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Fleet flagship, watching the alien armada on his screens. 37 ships from 9 different species all holding position at the edge of human-controlled space. They hadn't fired any weapons, but they hadn't left either. Status report, Sung-ho commanded. Yoon, his communications officer, responded immediately. They're still demanding we halt all expansion beyond our solar system, sir. They want a response within 6 hours, or they'll enforce the quarantine by force. Sung-ho was a veteran of Earth's military, with silver hair and steady hands that never shook, even in crisis. He had commanded ships in training exercises against other human fleets, but this was different. This was first contact with hostile intent. Have they specified what enforce by force means? No, sir. But our analysis suggests they're prepared to establish a blockade. They have enough ships to cover all major exit routes from our system. On another screen, Ambassador Da-Yoon appeared from the Galactic Council chambers light years away. Admiral, I need you to hold your position and not engage. I'm making progress here. Ambassador, they've given us 6 hours. What kind of progress can you make in that time? Da-Yoon's face was calm, but Sung-ho could see the tension in her eyes. She had been Earth's voice in the galactic community for 3 years, always diplomatic, always careful. Now she faced the biggest challenge of her career. I'm presenting evidence that humans aren't a threat, but the Council is divided. Some species want to give us a chance. Others are too frightened, she paused. They keep bringing up the knife incident. It's become a symbol of everything they fear about us. Sung-ho had seen the video dozens of times. A young security officer named Taemin, catching a thrown blade without thinking. Such a simple action, such enormous consequences. Is Taemin there with you? Sung-ho asked. He's on his way. Commander Quan is sending him on a fast transport. He should arrive in 4 hours, cutting it close. I know, but the Council wants to see him in person. They want to ask him questions, observe his reactions. Da-Eun leaned closer to her camera. Admiral, they're going to test him. Make him demonstrate human reflexes. You need to prepare for the possibility that it might make things worse. Sung-ho nodded slowly. Understood. We'll be ready for anything. After Da-Eun signed off, Sung-ho walked to the forward viewport. The alien ships hung in space like silent judges, waiting to pass sentence on humanity. He had joined the military to protect Earth. Now he might have to do exactly that against species he had hoped would be friends. "Sir?" Yoon called out. "We're receiving a private communication from one of the alien ships. It's Ambassador Vrax of the Chittering Collective. He wants to speak with you directly." "Put him through." Vrax's insectoid face appeared on the screen, his compound eyes gleaming in the light of his ship. "Admiral Sung-ho, I hope I am not interrupting." "Not at all, Ambassador. What can I do for you?" "I want to explain something. Something important." Vrax's antennae twitched nervously. "My people are not warriors. We are merchants, engineers, builders. For 2,000 years we have known peace." "Do you understand what that means?" Sung-ho thought carefully before answering. "It means you haven't had to fight for survival." "Exactly. We evolved on a world with gentle seasons and few predators. Our greatest dangers were storms and occasional food shortages. We learned to cooperate, to share, to think long-term." Vrax paused. "But we never learned to fight." "Not really. Our reflexes are slow because we never needed them to be fast." "I see. Do you? Can you truly understand what it means to encounter a species like yours?" Vrax's voice carried emotion that the translator struggled to convey. "You are not just faster than us, Admiral. You are faster than anything we have ever known. Your reflexes, your reaction times, your ability to track and intercept moving objects. To us, it seems like supernatural ability." Sung-ho listened quietly. "When I watched Taemin catch that knife, I felt something I had never experienced before. Pure instinctive terror. Not fear of him specifically, but fear of what he represented. An entire species of beings who can react before we can even perceive a threat." Vrax's mandibles clicked. "We have been the dominant, intelligent species in this galaxy for so long. Suddenly we are not. Suddenly we are prey. Ambassador, we don't think of you as prey, perhaps not. But that makes it worse in some ways. You don't even see us as threats worthy of hunting. We are simply lesser, slower, weaker." Vrax made a sound that might have been a sigh. "I am telling you this because I want you to understand. The fleet outside your system is not here out of hatred. They are here out of fear. Primal, overwhelming fear." Sung-ho chose his words carefully. "What would it take to ease that fear?" "I don't know. Time, perhaps. Proof that you won't use your advantages against us. But Admiral, I must warn you. Some of the species in that fleet believe that waiting is too dangerous. They want to act now, while humanity is still confined to one system." "Are you saying they might attack?" "I am saying that frightened beings make poor decisions. Even peaceful species can be driven to violence when they believe their survival is at stake." Vrax's eyes fixed on the camera. "I am telling you this as a friend, Admiral. Be ready for anything." The communication ended. Sung-ho stood in silence for a moment, processing the conversation. Then he turned to his crew. "All ships maintain defensive positions. Charge weapons, but do not lock targets. We will not fire first, but we will be ready to defend ourselves." "Yes, sir," came the unified response. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council chambers, Da-un was presenting her case. The chamber was a massive sphere, with representatives from 43 different species floating in individual pods around the space. In the center, a holographic display showed various pieces of evidence. "Honored Council," Da-un began, her voice projected throughout the chamber. "I present evidence of humanity's peaceful intentions." She displayed images of human aid missions, medical teams helping alien colonies struck by disease, engineering crews repairing damaged stations, rescue operations saving alien crews from disabled ships. In the 3 years since joining the galactic community, humans have participated in 17 humanitarian missions. We have asked for nothing in return. We have respected all treaties and boundaries. You have hidden your true nature," interrupted Gormath, the reptilian delegate who had thrown the knife. "You presented yourselves as weak, harmless, cooperative. Now we see the predators beneath the mask." "We never hid anything," Da-un replied calmly. "We simply didn't think our evolutionary history mattered. Yes, humans evolved as hunters, but we also evolved as caretakers, teachers, protectors. We are complex beings like all of you." Another delegate spoke, a floating jellyfish-like creature from a water world. "Ambassador Da-un, your species has reflexes 10 to 20 times faster than ours. You have endurance that far exceeds any known species. You come from a planet so dangerous we classify it as nearly uninhabitable. How can we not see you as a threat?" Da-un activated another display. "Because you're only looking at our physical abilities. Let me show you something else. The display showed human art, music, literature. It showed children learning in schools. It showed elderly humans being cared for by the young. It showed communities working together, people helping strangers, acts of kindness and compassion. We are not just predators, Daewon said softly. We are beings who create beauty, who value knowledge, who care for our weak and elderly even when they cannot contribute to survival. Yes, we can be dangerous, but we choose not to be. Every single day, billions of humans wake up and choose cooperation over violence, peace over war, creation over destruction. The chamber fell quiet. Some delegates seemed moved. Others remained skeptical. Then an alarm sounded. Yoon's voice came through on Da-Yoon's emergency channel. Ambassador, we have a situation. 3 ships from the alien fleet have broken formation. They're approaching Earth's defense perimeter. Da-Yoon's heart raced, but her face remained calm. Admiral Sung-ho, report. They're not responding to hails, Sung-ho replied. But they're powering weapons. It looks like a small faction has decided to act without authorization. In the council chamber, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted at each other in dozens of languages. The 3 species whose ships had broken formation tried to recall them, but communication was delayed. Da-Eun raised her voice. Council, this is exactly what I warned about. Fear leads to irrational action. If those ships attack Earth, will defend itself. And then you will have the war you feared, started not by humans, but by your own people. The jellyfish delegate spoke urgently. Recall those ships immediately. But it was too late. On Sung-Ho's screens, the 3 alien ships opened fire. Return fire, defensive only, Sung-Ho commanded. Disable their weapons, but do not destroy the ships. The human fleet responded with precision. Within seconds, the attacking ships were crippled, their weapons offline, but their crews safe. Casualties? Sung-Ho asked. None, sir. All alien crew members are unharmed. Their ships are disabled, but intact. In the council chamber, silence fell as they watched the engagement. The human fleet had moved with incredible speed and accuracy. They had neutralized the threat without killing anyone. New threshold burned. From orbit, Admiral Sung-Ho could see fires spreading across the colony's main settlement. Strange ships, unlike anything in the Galactic database, swarmed around the planet like insects around wounded prey. They were fast, aggressive, and deadly. Analysis, Sung-Ho commanded. Unknown species, sir, Yoon reported. The colonists are calling them the Void Swarm. They appeared without warning 3 hours ago and began attacking immediately. No communication, no demands. Just pure aggression. Casualties. Estimated 7,000 dead already. The colonists are evacuating to shelters, but these attackers are hunting them down systematically. Sung-Ho watched the tactical display. The Void Swarm ships moved with incredible speed, faster than any vessel he had seen before. They darted between buildings, tracking fleeing civilians with predatory precision. Sir, the alien fleet from Earth has arrived, Yoon announced. They're holding position at the system's edge. They're not engaging, Sung-Ho understood. The aliens were still afraid of humans, still debating whether to trust them. They would watch and see what humans did when tested. Open a channel to all ships, Sung-Ho ordered. Human and alien. When the channel opened, he spoke clearly. This is Admiral Sung-Ho of the Earth Defense Fleet. New Threshold Colony is under attack by hostile forces. 200,000 civilians of multiple species need immediate evacuation and protection. Earth Fleet is moving in to assist. He paused. To our alien friends watching from the system's edge, you can help us save lives, or you can watch people die while you debate whether to trust us. The choice is yours. He closed the channel and turned to his crew. All ships, combat formation. Launch rescue shuttles. Get those people out of there. Down on New Threshold's surface, Taemin crouched behind a broken wall, breathing hard. He had arrived on the transport just as the attack began. Now he was stuck on the ground with a mixed group of human and alien civilians, trying to reach an evacuation point. Jiwoo knelt beside him, her medical bag across her shoulders. We have 3 wounded aliens who can't move fast. We need to carry them. The Void Swarm is between us and the evacuation point, Taemin said. They move too fast, even for humans. A woman in combat armor appeared beside them. Mina, a human Marine Corps leader who had been training colonial defense forces when the attack started. She had sharp eyes and moved with the confidence of someone who had seen real combat. We go anyway, Mina said. We don't leave people behind, Taemin nodded. It was the human way, something the aliens didn't always understand about them. Humans formed bonds quickly and defended those bonds fiercely. It didn't matter if the wounded were human or alien. They were part of the group now, and humans protected their group. Bora, check the wounded, Minna ordered. Bora, the combat medic, moved to examine the 3 injured aliens. She worked quickly and efficiently, her hands steady despite the chaos around them. 2 can walk with support. 1 needs to be carried. I'll carry them, Taemin said. The alien was a crystalline being, heavy but fragile. Taemin lifted them carefully, mindful of their sharp edges. The alien made a sound that might have been protest or gratitude. The translator couldn't keep up with the chaos. Minna took point, weapon ready. Stay close, move fast. When I say run, you run. Understood. The group nodded and began moving through the destroyed settlement. Smoke filled the air, making it hard to see. Buildings that had stood for decades were now broken shells. Bodies lay in the streets, alien and human both, cut down by the Void Swarm's weapons. They made it 2 blocks before the swarm found them. The creatures appeared from nowhere, moving faster than Taemin's eyes could follow. They were insectoid but wrong somehow, all sharp edges and jerky movements. Their weapons crackled with energy. Minna fired first, her shots precise and controlled. 1 creature fell, then another. But more kept coming. Run, Minna shouted. The group ran. Even carrying the wounded alien, Taemin could move faster than the other aliens in the group. He had to slow down, match their pace, stay together. Every instinct screamed at him to sprint ahead, but he fought it down. Humans didn't abandon their people. The Void Swarm pursued. Minna and 2 other human Marines formed a rear guard, firing as they retreated. Their weapons discipline was perfect, short, controlled bursts. No wasted ammunition. They moved backward faster than the aliens could move forward, all while maintaining accurate fire. A Void Swarm creature lunged at one of the wounded aliens, being helped by Jiwoo. Without thinking, Taemin shifted the crystalline alien to one arm and caught the creature's weapon arm with his free hand. The creature was strong, but Taemin's grip was stronger. He twisted, heard something crack, and the creature collapsed. The aliens in the group stared at him in shock. He had reacted faster than they could perceive, stopped a threat they hadn't even seen coming yet. Keep moving, Minna shouted. They reached the evacuation point, a wide plaza where human shuttles were landing. But the Void Swarm had anticipated this. Dozens of creatures surrounded the area, cutting off escape routes. We're trapped, one of the aliens said, their translator finally catching up. No, Minna replied. We're exactly where we need to be. She activated her communicator. Bora covered the civilians. Taemin, you're with me. Time to show these things what humans can do. Taemin gently set down the wounded alien and joined Minna. Around them, 6 other human Marines formed up. 8 humans total, facing dozens of Void Swarm creatures. The aliens in the group huddled together, certain they were about to watch humans die trying to protect them. They were wrong. Minna moved first and the other humans followed her lead. They didn't fight like the Void Swarm expected. They didn't stand and shoot. They moved constantly, flowing between positions like water, each human covering the others. Their reaction times turned the battle into something that looked like choreographed dance. A Void Swarm creature would fire, and a human would already be somewhere else. The creature would lunge and a human would sidestep, precisely enough to avoid the attack by centimeters. They wasted no movement, conserved every ounce of energy, but fought with an efficiency that seemed impossible. Taemin found himself moving on pure instinct. Dodge left. Fire twice. Roll forward. Fire again. Duck. Spin. The Void Swarm was fast, but human reflexes were faster. Every movement they made, humans had already predicted and countered. Above them, the Earth Defense Fleet engaged the Void Swarm in space. The alien fleet at the system's edge watched in stunned silence as human ships matched the incredible speed of the enemy vessels. Human pilots, with their Death World reflexes, could track targets that alien sensors could barely detect. On the ground, the battle ended quickly. The Void Swarm creatures lay scattered around the plaza, neutralized but not all killed. The humans had used precise force, enough to stop threats but no more than necessary. Minna checked her Marines. Casualties? None, ma'am. Minor injuries only. Taemin returned to the civilian group. The alien stared at him and the other humans with expressions that ranged from awe to fear, to something that might have been respect. One of the wounded aliens spoke, their translator working again. You saved us, all of us, even though we're not your people. You are our people, Jiwoo said softly, kneeling to continue treating wounds. All of you. That's what being part of a community means. Above the planet, Admiral Sung-ho watched the evacuation proceed smoothly. Human efficiency had turned chaos into order. The Void Swarm was retreating, their forces broken by the combined might of the human fleet. A communication came through from the alien fleet. It was Vrax, Admiral Sung-ho, the insectoid ambassador said slowly. We have been watching. We see now what you truly are. Sung-ho braced himself for more fear, more accusations, but Vrax continued, his voice filled with emotion. You are not the predators we feared. You are something far more valuable. You are protectors, guardians. When others would have fled or watched from safety, you ran toward danger. You risked everything to save people who had called you monsters just hours before. Other alien ships joined the channel. One by one, representatives spoke. We were wrong about humanity. We apologize for our fear. We wish to help with the evacuation. The alien fleet moved forward, no longer holding back. They joined the human ships in orbit, working together to save the colony. It wasn't perfect coordination. The aliens were still slower, still learning, but it was cooperation. It was a beginning. On the ground, Taemin helped load the last wounded civilians onto evacuation shuttles. One of them was a young alien child who had been separated from their family. The child clung to Taemin's uniform, making soft sounds of distress. It's okay, Taemin said gently. We'll find your parents. I promise. An alien aid worker approached, hesitant. I can take the child now, but the child didn't want to let go. They had imprinted on Taemin, seeing him as safe. As protection, the aid worker looked at Taemin with new understanding. You humans. You're not what we thought you were. What did you think we were? Taemin asked. Dangerous. Deadly. Too fast, too strong, too much like predators. The alien worker paused. But predators don't comfort frightened children. They don't risk their lives for strangers. They don't choose mercy when they could choose violence. Taemin smiled sadly. We're all of those things. Dangerous and gentle. 6 months had passed since the Battle of New Threshold. Ambassador Daeun stood before the Galactic Council once more. But this time the atmosphere was completely different. Where there had been fear and suspicion, now there was cautious hope. Where there had been accusations, now there were questions about cooperation. The vote is complete, announced the council speaker, a floating entity of pure energy from a dimension humans barely understood. By unanimous decision, humanity is welcomed as full members of the galactic community, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. The chamber erupted in sounds that humans had learned to recognize as applause. Different species had different ways of showing approval. Clicks, whistles, color changes, vibrations. But the meaning was clear. Humanity had passed the test. Daeun bowed respectfully. On behalf of Earth and all human colonies, we accept this honor. We pledge to work with all species for the peace and prosperity of the galaxy. After the ceremony, she met with Vrax in a private chamber. The insectoid ambassador had become an unlikely friend to humanity, helping bridge the gap between humans and the rest of the galaxy. 6 months ago, I thought your species would be the end of us all, Vrax said, his mandibles clicking in what humans now recognized as laughter. Now I cannot imagine the galaxy without you. What changed? Taeyeon asked, understanding. We learned that speed and strength are just tools. What matters is how you use them. Vrax's compound eyes reflected the starlight from the viewport. Your people could have used their advantages to dominate. Instead, you used them to protect. That made all the difference. Meanwhile, on Trade Station Helios 7, Taemin stood in front of 40 alien security officers. Commander Kwan had appointed him head of the new Galactic Security Training Program. His job was to teach other species how to improve their response times and defensive capabilities. It was harder than he had expected. Watch carefully, Taemin said, demonstrating a simple defensive move. He moved slowly, breaking down each step. First, you assess the threat. Then you position your body. Then you react. One of the alien students, a reptilian from the scaled dominion, tried to copy the movement. He was painfully slow by human standards, taking several seconds to complete what Taemin could do in less than one. Good, Taemin said encouragingly. You're improving. Last week that took you 4 seconds. Now it's down to 3. The reptilian's scales shifted to a pleased orange color. Really, I'm getting faster? Absolutely. Remember, you're not trying to be as fast as a human. You're trying to be the best version of yourself. Jiwoo entered the training room carrying medical supplies. She had established the first interspecies emergency medical training center, teaching both humans and aliens how to treat injuries across different biologies. "How's the class going?" she asked Taemin quietly. "Better. They're starting to understand that different doesn't mean inferior. They have their own strengths, it was true. Over the past months, humans had learned that while they might be faster, other species excelled in different ways. The crystalline beings could process mathematical calculations that would take human computers hours. The floating jellyfish species could perceive dimensions of space that humans couldn't even comprehend. The insectoids like Virax could coordinate group actions with a precision that human teams struggled to match. Every species had evolved unique abilities suited to their homeworlds. Humans just happened to come from a world that demanded fast reflexes and quick thinking. "Commander Quan wants to see you after class," Jiwoo said. Something about a new joint defense initiative. Later that day, Taemin met with Quan, Admiral Sung-ho, and several alien military commanders. They were planning the new Galactic Defense Force, a combined military that would protect all member species from external threats, like the Void Swarm. "The question is command. Structure," one alien commander said. "A being that looked like living stone. Human reflexes make you superior in combat situations. Should humans lead all operations?" Admiral Sung-ho shook his head. "No. Different situations require different skills. Humans are good at rapid response and close combat, but your species excels at strategic planning. The crystalline beings are better at long-range calculations. We need mixed command structures that use everyone's strengths." It was a delicate balance, acknowledging human advantages while respecting alien capabilities. But slowly they were finding ways to make it work. On Earth, a human scientist named Hae-Wan worked with alien researchers in a new joint laboratory. They were studying the biological differences between species, trying to understand why humans had evolved such fast reflexes. "It's fascinating," Hae-Wan explained to her alien colleagues. "Earth went through multiple extinction events. Ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes. Only the most adaptable species survived. Humans learned to react quickly because hesitation meant death." A crystalline scientist posed a question. Their thoughts translated into sound waves. "But you also developed empathy, cooperation, long-term planning. How did a death world produce beings with such social complexity?" "Because surviving a death world requires teamwork," Hae-Wan replied. "Humans who helped each other survived better than those who competed. We evolved to be both fierce and gentle, both dangerous and caring. We needed both to survive." The alien scientists absorbed this information. It was helping them understand that humans weren't simple predators. They were complex beings shaped by a complex world. Back on Helios 7, Taemin finished his training session and headed to the station's main gathering area. A celebration was being held to mark the 6-month anniversary of the new Threshold rescue. Aliens and humans mingled freely now, no longer separated by fear. He found Jiwoo talking with several alien medical officers. They were laughing together, sharing stories about their most difficult patients. The barriers were breaking down, one friendship at a time. Vrax approached Taemin, holding a ceremonial beverage from his homeworld. "Taemin, the human who started everything. How does it feel to be famous across the galaxy?" Taemin smiled. "Honestly, a bit overwhelming. I just caught a knife. I didn't mean to cause an intergalactic incident, but you did. And perhaps it was necessary." Vrax's antennae swayed thoughtfully. "We needed something to shake us out of our complacency. For thousands of years we thought we understood the galaxy. Then you showed us how much we had yet to learn." A young alien approached them nervously. It was the child that Taemin had comforted during the evacuation of New Threshold. They had grown since then and their family had relocated to Helios 7. "Officer Taemin," the child said in careful standard language, "I wanted to thank you. For saving me. For saving everyone." Taemin knelt down to the child's level. "You're very welcome. How are you doing?" "Good. I'm learning about humans in school now. Our teacher says you come from a scary world, but you're not scary at all." "That's right. Just because something seems scary doesn't mean it is. You have to look deeper." The child nodded seriously, then ran back to their parents. The parents bowed to Taemin in gratitude before leading their child away. Jiwoo joined him. You're good with kids. I just treat them like people. Same as everyone else. That's very human of you. They laughed together, enjoying the celebration. Around them, the station buzzed with life from a dozen different species. It wasn't perfect yet. There were still misunderstandings, still cultural differences to navigate, but it was working. A commotion near the entrance caught everyone's attention. Someone had dropped a tray of drinks. Without thinking, 3 different humans in the area moved simultaneously, catching falling glasses before they hit the ground. They straightened up, glasses in hand, looking slightly embarrassed. The room fell silent for a moment. Then laughter erupted, alien laughter in all its various forms. The aliens weren't frightened anymore. They were amazed, amused, even a little envious. Show-offs, Vrax called out cheerfully, and the laughter grew louder. Commander Quan stood on a small platform, raising his voice to address the crowd. 6 months ago, we faced our greatest challenge as a galactic community. Fear and misunderstanding nearly tore us apart. But we chose cooperation over conflict, understanding over fear, unity over division. He gestured to the mixed crowd of humans and aliens. Today, we celebrate not just the rescue of New Threshold, but the beginning of something new. A true alliance of equals where every species contributes their unique strengths. Quan raised his glass. To new friendships. To understanding, Dunnan added. Her voice transmitted from the council chambers. To catching knives instead of throwing them, Jiwoo said with a grin. The entire hall erupted in cheers and laughter. Later that evening, Taemin stood alone at an observation window looking out at the stars. So much had changed since that dinner 6 months ago. A simple reflex action had revealed truths that both species needed to confront. Vrax joined him at the window. What are you thinking about? About how strange life is. One moment changes everything. One action ripples outward in ways you never expect. True, but I think the knife was just an excuse. The real change was always going to happen. We needed to face our fears. You gave us a reason to do so. And now we move forward together. Humans teaching us speed and flexibility. We teaching you patience and long-term thinking. Crystal and B.